Hey guys, Vince here from AutoIndustriya, and no, we are not reviewing a car for you today. Instead, we want to talk about something a bit more important, the motor vehicle inspection system. To find out, well, we visited an MVIC over in Otis, Manila to see what this new system for vehicle inspection is all about. And yes, this time, they're gonna let us drive it. So the MVIS is the new drive of the LTO to really, well, make sure that vehicles being registered are roadworthy. So you go to an MVIC or a motor vehicle inspection center, like this one in Otis in Manila. Normally they'd have a technician doing this. You know, the vehicle owner would be sitting inside the lounge and relaxing. But I wanted to see it for myself, and it's actually quite enlightening because it's a huge upgrade. Because before we only had the private emissions testing centers, and then we have people from the LTO just saying, oh, your car, it's pwede na yan. So now it's a bit more comprehensive, especially for basic things like brake lights. It's one of the most important safety features of a car, and sometimes both lights are busted. Oh, here we go. What do we want to do?
Lights.
Okay, so the first check is the subjective test, meaning they visually inspect the car. What's that? Wipers. Okay. So they check all the washers. Okay. Okay. Brake lamps. I'm already braking, so yeah, they do a visual walk around of the vehicle. They have the technicians check certain features. You have to look at it in the mirror. The next step is they lift the car and then they do an under-chassis check. So they check for damage to your bushings, tie rods, suspension. That's correct, right?
And they check for leaks.
Oh yeah, they check for leaks. So if your car is taking a leak in terms of oil, you might fail the test. Actually, you will fail the test.
The technician currently is under the car checking for leaks, making sure that there's nothing that's pouring out that shouldn't be pouring out. And then they check the undercarriage for cracks or damages that they might find. And then after that, as you said, it's a visual inspection. And then they put us down. The mechanical inspection is stage 2 and stage 3.
It feels kind of weird. We're 6 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
The technician underneath looking at the undercarriage, checking all those components.
Well, other sites have pits, so it's not all lifters that they have it. We just chose to do lifts because I'm more comfortable with them.
They also have the axle, the steering plate check here, right? Where they check the
plate detectors.
The plate detector. Okay. So yeah, they will check. They will twist the tires a little bit or the wheels.
Yes.
To be able to check the play versus the steering. You actually won't feel anything.
You won't feel it.
Yeah, you won't feel it. It's very minute. All right, so that's pretty much stage 1 done. So they've already done all the electrical checks that we need for safety features.
So the next step for us, at least, is stage 2. Is the speed. So we compare your speed on the odometer as compared to the actual speed that we're testing on.
Okay.
So we usually test it to 30 kilometers per hour.
Okay. Now this being a rear, we're entering what we're calling a rolling road, or a kind of a dyno type of deal. So this being a pickup truck, I'm going to have to put on the rear tires on the rolling road, and I have to turn off traction control.
Yes, please.
Otherwise it's going to go crazy. 30, and then 30 then horn, right?
Yes.
Okay, correct. All right, here we go. So we'll accelerate to 30 kilometers per hour, and then honk the horn so they know it's 30. Okay. And go. So this is a side slip. Yeah.
So it's comparing toe in and toe out.
Okay.
Right. So unlike the real wheel alignment, it actually doesn't measure camber in, camber out. Right. It just measures toe in and toe out, so that just gives you a basic idea of where your alignment will be. Right. Now if you fail here, you go to a 3-star shop or a dealership, and they actually perform a wheel alignment on you, and they can give you a more detailed explanation of what's wrong with your alignment. So right here, we're comparing your left against the right.
Okay.
So your left suspension against the right and the variance of that.
Okay.
Of the front. Then we're gonna do the same in the rear.
It's a bit more scientific than just looking for kalampag. It's looking for variations in the suspension, how it behaves. There's a screen that shows whether they're equal or not. And right now, my vehicle is perfectly equal. Good. This is
This is
neutral.
brakes.
This is neutral, right?
Yes. This is brakes.
Okay, you know what to do with it.
You need
Yeah.
to hold on to the steering wheel tight.
Okay.
It's gonna go veer to the left a little, and then it's gonna start to right.
Wait,
And just wait for it.
wait.
There you go.
And we got it.
Move forward.
This is the
Rear axle brake test.
rear axle brake test. Okay. So they'll accelerate the rear tires.
Hold your steering wheel.
Okay. Alright.
Press brake little. No, there you go.
Aha, there's a little variation. For this whole facility, Yogi, how much did you guys actually invest?
Well, the investment range anywhere from 70 to 75 million.
Wow.
We're required to have 1,500 square meters.
Or, wait lang. Let's do that later.
Sure.
$84.6.
You know, as much as possible, it's all about, having machines measure the whole vehicle, measure certain things.
I think it adds to the objectiveness of the tests.
Yeah.
Because we understand that there are, of course, going to be doubts to every change that the LTO makes. And so the goal here was to be as objective as possible, and the only way we can be objective is to have measured results on machines that will not be able to be subject to human intervention.
So now we're going to do the emissions test. So I'm going to be revving to 2,000 RPM and then idle for 6 times. So,
Yes.
ready? All right.
You see it on the screen when it says accelerate to 2,000. Idle again.
Okay, let it idle. Then wait a few more seconds and then accelerate to 2,000 again, RPM.
6 times.
So
Yeah.
the interval is actually the shortest time before readings. It's 15 seconds.
Really?
Yeah, we can't go below that. It's actually one of the faster time intervals that we can set. But since we're required to do it 6 times, we set it that way so that the customer isn't waiting for
Yeah.
3.5 to 4 minutes per test.
Yes.
So the whole test should actually take a takt time of 12 minutes from start to finish. That doesn't include waiting time of the customer. The waiting time of the customer we're trying to address by LTO and DOTR requiring all of the MVICs to have appointment systems.
Okay.
So if you don't want to wait in line and you actually have only a small time frame to get your work done, you can actually set an appointment online, come here, show us your QR code, and we'll be putting you in line before the rest.
Well, that makes things a lot simpler. And as you can tell, we're talking here, and then I'm actually doing the emissions test, looking at the screen over there.
That's the last one.
So we're in the last one. All right,
Yes.
here we go. So this is the absolute final test of the whole MVIS. So one last push to 2,000 RPM.
and you're done.
Okay, and there you go. That is it. Actually, the whole process was about what? Maybe, I think we took about 15 minutes.
You passed.
We passed, of course.
Your diesel emission passed.
Thankfully, yes.
Yes.
That's the good thing with these new vehicles now. They're really a lot better with emissions. With this approach, you've got CCTVs all around, so they'll be able to track if there's a problem or there's
so
something
I mean,
questionable.
there's a very, very substantial difference between what the LTO wants implemented in the MVIC as compared to the PETCs. I like to compare it simply as a blood test as compared to a temperature reading.
Yeah.
We're able to diagnose everything from your above carriage all the way down to your undercarriage, all the way down to the major components of the car, brake, suspension, headlight. These are the things that actually affect you on the road more than the emission, right? And so the fact that we're able to do that, we should be able to measure and we should be able to correct those failures from prior.
If you take the time to have your car maintained, you should have no problem passing the MVIS. So that's pretty much it for the whole MVIS experience. As you can see, it was fairly painless. There's just a lot of really processes to make sure that cars are roadworthy and safe for registration, because that has become quite a problem here in the Philippines, where cars don't have brake lights, don't have tail lights. They drift all over the road, and the brakes fail. That's what centers like these are meant to prevent, to make sure that the cars are safe and roadworthy. This is Vince of AutoIndustriya. Thanks for watching. When you do enter an MVIC, now you know what to expect.